Hey, thanks so much for checking out my program. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we can work together on this. The goal of this video is to show you the 7 pages that I need developed and also the PDF specifications. Give you an idea of what we're looking for, and yeah. So first of all, I've used Balsamic Cloud. It's a wireframing solution so I've wireframed out all these 7 web pages that need developed for this application. There's actually 43 that I've already made. So phase 1 of this project that you're looking at right now is only 7 pages, and the login screen is one of those. So there's only 6 screens. In the job ad, you'll see a link to this wireframe project here. So the first thing it is going to do is take you here to the login screen. Excuse me. Now, this navigation bar may pop up, and this shows the 7 different wireframes that I've created here for this project. And to hide this navigation bar, just click here on this icon. It goes away. On the right side, this may pop up this other properties column here. So you want to get that out of the way because you want to be able to see the entire screen. And I'll show you why here in a second. So on these clickable links in Balsamic, you can see if I highlight the mouse over this login button, it says Alt-click, and it'll take me to the My Dashboard screen. So I'm going to Alt-click. And now you can see why you want to hide those left and right columns, because I've designed this screen with a lot of information. It's very important in this project. I want it to look like this. I want all these columns to be able to be visible and seen on the monitor at one time. I do not want to have to scroll over to the right to see any of this information. So the font size is important to match the screen here. The column widths are important. These column headings, these kind of title bars in green here, these are important. It helps users' eye, kind of focus in on the areas that they're wanting to look at. So I just kind of give an overview here. There's comments. So these comments are these yellow sticky notes with the red tape. These comments, you do not program these are for you to read. This gives you some additional specifications on what needs to be done on the screen. For example, this one here we're looking at just says, hey, the user role when they log in. If they're an admin, they should see all the screens. If they're so based on their role, they see certain screens. For this program, you're just doing the My Dashboard. So this My Progress screen, the team versus team, IT operations, account management, admin, those are in phase 2. So these are just placeholders right now. They don't go anywhere. On the screen, all the back-end business logic code has already been done. I am the one that created all the SQL, Microsoft SQL stored procedures. So you will be doing just the front end. You will be doing a little bit of the back end, the mid-tier, literally just a simple .NET component that's going to call the stored procedures so that you can then get the results of that and pass it to your front end for all these data grids. So each one of these components here with data, all you do is just call a SQL store procedure. You call one here for this first drop-down box to get the proper dates that get filled in for both these drop-down boxes. You call one stored procedure for this first data grid here called engineer stats. So let me show you the PDF specifications. So I've listed out all 7 pages here. So I guess let's go back to the login screen. Here we go. Let me bring back up that specifications. So you're going to be using ASP.NET Core Identity for the authentication. You need to make sure that the multi-factor authentication is working. with Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, whichever the user selects. After login, dynamically load the menus based on the user's role. So in this case, once they log in, you would just basically change this menu bar here based on their rights. So some people won't see the My Progress, the team, or the team versus team. It's all displayed right here. So all you're doing is just changing that menu a bit. But none of these links will be going anywhere except for the My Dashboard, which you're viewing now. The others are only done during phase 2, except for the logout. The logout, user can log out of the application. Okay, so that's, and I have a SQL store procedure for get user. So you send in their username and you can get all their information. You can see their role and that sort of thing. You'll be keeping the user's password, in the ASP.NET core tables. Now I've laid out, so the second screen, the My Dashboard, which we're looking at, you can see here for drop-down lists, period 1, that's the first drop-down list. You call this store procedure, there's no input variables. The second drop-down list, you call the same store procedure, there's no input variables. The first data grid is engineer stats. You're going to call this store procedure right here, and you're going to pass in these input variables, and it tells you where to get the values for each of those input variables. So you'll see here, this first data grid is just one row, and that SQL store procedure provides you the value for each one of these rows. You just plop them in there. Some of the comments down here below will tell you how to format. So here's the comment for that very first data grid. Tells you which columns need to be in red. Okay, so super easy. There's some clickable columns in here. So you can see if I highlight my mouse over it, it says if you hit Alt click, it's going to take you to the time entry screen. If we go back to the PDF, you can see here that here was the engineer stats, and here was the store procedure we called with the input variables. And now here's the clickable columns in the data grid. So if the user clicked on the time entry total column, you're going to go to this web page and you're going to pass these variables to that web page. This web page is in this document. It actually happens to be the last one, so I'll scroll down here to the end. Here's the time entries web page. So if I were to click on total entry hours, here's the time entries the engineer entered for that day. Very simple. It was one store procedure. This going to be called and outputs this information. Let's go back to the Word document. You can see this is how you display the data grid heading. So it tells you how to do that. The data grid, here's the store procedure, here's the input variable, here's some optional variables. So these were passed from the calling page. Here's the 2 clickable columns. This store procedure is a little unique because it provides 2 data sets. So the second data set fills in the summary grid here at the bottom. So in this particular store procedure, there's 2 data sets. The first one fills the first data grid. The second data set fills this one. You'll also notice besides these comments, it's a yellow sticky note is what it is. It's a comment in balsamic. It says like the grid table, the font size is 12, except for the following columns. These have a size of 9, and it lists out all these columns here that need to be a font size of 9. At the bottom of each page is some debugging stuff that I want done for everybody. It's always going to be at the bottom of every single screen. This shows the SQL store procedure that you called for the screen and the input variables. If we go back to My Dashboard, this one's loaded with information. We had the engineer stats up here, the project management store procedure, the assigned service tickets store procedure, project tickets, that are assigned, store procedure. Let's see, here's some of those little yellow sticky notes. You'll see at the very bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 store procedures called for this page. The first one here fills in those drop-down box. And then here's the first one for getting those engineer stats. So whatever input variables you pass to the store procedure for this specific page at this specific time, you're going to put those values in here and the name of the store procedure that you called for each one of these. So if there's any problems with the business logic, I'll be able to look, see what you used when you passed in the values into the store procedure. I'll be able to debug the store procedure, make sure it's providing the correct information. So that's my dashboard. We went to time entries already. Let's see, there's some other ones here. Service tickets completed. So again, there's only 7 screens here. So if I alt-click on service tickets completed, it should pop up the service tickets completed for that engineer that we clicked on. So it's just a wireframe page here that just displays how I want it to look. So service tickets complete. Here's at the bottom, here's the one store procedure that gets called. You're going to fill in the input variables that you used for this exact specific page when you called it to display this information. You're going to list it right there. So that's going to change, every time that someone clicks and views this page, you're going to be updating this information down here. If you look back at the PDF, service tickets completed. Here it is. Page number 5 tells you what to put in the data grid heading. And then for the data grid itself, here's the name of the SQL store procedure. Here's the input variables. Here's the one clickable column on the page. And yeah, I guess there's two. There's ticket and logged hours. So if they click logged hours, that takes them to time entry screen. So if we go back here, clickable column, if they clicked on that, you're going to go to the time entry page, which we just looked at, so you already know what that's all about. It's going to pass in 2 options, variables. Option ID is set to specific ticket. The option record ID, use the ticket number from the row that was clicked. So if they click this first row, there's the ticket number, you're going to pass that. And you're going to pass that to the time entry screen. So that easy. Here's the 7 screens. We got, project tickets completed. It's just one store procedure, pretty easy. One clickable column. Project tickets open, one store procedure. Here's the store procedure. 2 clickable columns. Service tickets completed, same thing, one store procedure, 2 clickable columns. Service tickets opened, one store procedure, 2 clickable columns. Time entries, one store procedure, 2 data sets that are returned, result sets. And then the big one here is to my dashboard with, what we say, how many store procedures? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's see, what else can I share? I'm currently going to be hiring 3 developers to create all 7 screens. We're providing you a dedicated Windows server to do your development on. It has IIS running on it. So you'll be using IIS, and that server has access to call these store procedures. So you have to use our server to do the development, to call our internal database to get the values. So our internal database, there's actually 2 of them. So we use ConnectWise as our PSA, professional services automation program. It's like it keeps track of all our clients' help desk tickets. So we use ConnectWise Manage. That has its own SQL Server database. Our store procedures are in the 24x7 kpi database. So it accesses the ConnectWise Manage database. So there's no way we're going to be able to copy these databases and give them to you to work remotely. You're going to have to remote into our servers. So we'll be providing you a remote login to your dedicated server. You'll be a local IT administrator of that server. You'll have access to IIS. You'll develop the application there. You'll have execution rights to the store procedures, so you can get to all this data. Yeah. So I look forward to working with you. I'm really looking for someone that is fast, detail-oriented, able to create this quickly, able to communicate and work with me quickly to develop these screens. I really want to get this done as fast as possible. If you can get this done in a week or less, that's what I'm looking for. Someone to really take this serious, work full time on it, get it done. But I am looking for a very professional polish. I do not want one of those out of the box AG grid type of solutions. You need to be good at making it look very polished and professional. And now I'm going to select the developer. I hope it's you. And we're going to move forward on phase 2 as fast as possible because I've already got it done. It's ready to go. I'm just looking for some all-star programmer that is really fun to work with. So yeah, I don't care where in the world you are. I enjoy working with everybody. So yeah, thank you so much for checking out my program. I probably got a little too long-winded here. So thank you again. Appreciate it. Look forward to your message in Upwork. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Hey, bye.